how do you view this upcoming election? Do you cheer for the Democrats, or do you cheer for the Republicans? This speech is not meant to be a persuasive speech, so I'm not going to try to impose any of my views or my beliefs on you, but I want you to be able to come to your own conclusion by the end of this speech as to what this election is like. I'm going to kick off by starting with the 2016 election. Now, I would like to point out that many news people have been saying there has not been a mudslinging election like this since a long time ago. Well, I did some research, and I found out when that last mudslinging election was. And surprisingly, they're very close in comparison with today's election. I would like to now reference some of the things that were stated in one of our recent elections. And you can make your own decisions about whether or not we have a problem with some of our candidates. In the 9th Republican presidential debate, there were many nasty comments between many of the different Republicans. Now, bear in mind, this is when we still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people still eligible that were all debating on the same stage. Now, I don't know if any of you watched that debate, but in that debate, there was a lot of interrupting, there was a lot of childish behavior, and there was a lot of name-calling. Specifically, Trump referred to George Bush as someone who was not capable of running the presidency. He called George Bush's brother someone who was incapable of running the presidency, and he was president. Trump also referred to Ted Cruz as a liar. Rubio referred to Cruz as a liar. Cruz referred to Trump as a little child who could not keep his mouth shut for a minute or so. In the time that Cruz had to rebuttal what Trump had said, Cruz is speaking and Trump interrupts him. And the key thing that Cruz said through that whole thing was, "Excuse me, Donald, I was talking. Did your mother not teach you manners?" So all of this is going on in front of the entire nation. I'm sure other countries are laughing at us because we do not know how to control our tongues. Trump is cursing. Cruz is now resorting to calling Trump a liar. They're dragging Trump's personal life through the mud. Trump drags Cruz's personal life through the mud. You have all of this going on. It is absolutely ridiculous. Now, to take it to the Democratic side, you have Bernie Sanders calling Hillary names. You have Hillary calling Bernie Sanders names. Bernie Sanders voters are calling Trump names. They're causing trouble. Hillary's voters are causing Trump grief. You have all of this going on. There has not been an election this disorganized and this just absolutely ridiculous since 1828. And the key person in that election was none other than the person that is on the $20 bill, Andrew Jackson. And that also took place against Adams. So, I am going to now review some of the particulars about that election. I found this very interesting. Between Jackson and Adams, Jackson's supporters called Jackson's family some very bad names, specifically his mother, Jackson's dead mother. They called his mother a common prostitute after she was dead. They're dragging this up because she was brought over by the British soldiers and she was married to a man who was a mulatto man. And basically what that is one of his parents was black, the other was white. So this is before slaves were free, obviously. So they're saying, well, your mother's marriage was illegitimate because, you know, she married a black man. Okay? The first child of that marriage was Jackson. So Jackson is now having to bear all of the grief that comes along with that just because his mother married a black man. They also called Jackson's wife a convicted adulteress because Jackson's wife had been married to another man before him, and it was supposed to be nullified, but it wasn't quite nullified. So she married Jackson while still being married to this other man, and so that got dragged up. Everybody started calling her an adulteress, and right at the end of this election, once Jackson became a president, his wife died, and he blamed Adams for bringing all of this up. He said she died of a broken heart, and I can never forgive him for that. After all of that, Adams was made Jackson's vice president, and Adams brought in somebody who Jackson didn't agree with. He called them both scandalous rats, and it just blew up in his face. All that to say that these two elections seem very, very similar. There's a lot of name-calling going on. It is ridiculous. So, I'd like you to make up your own mind. Are we repeating history? Are we repeating this mudslinging campaign? Or is this just something new that's coming along, or has it always been this way? So I'd like you to consider who you are voting for as far as whether they are worthy to be your candidate and your president. Thank you very much.